welcome to the More You Know. We're in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, where Jesus is going over the main laws with anger, adultery, making oaths, and to love your enemies on the, on the Mount, the Sermon on the Mount speech. So in this part where it is talking about divorce in verse 31, the Greek word is apolyo. It can also mean to lose, to dismiss, and to send away, which a lot of people had did during those times, did dismiss and send away, and did a lot of divorce where Moses did make a law where you could divorce, but he did that because these people's hearts were hardened and just was being rude to their wives that allowed him to divorce. But if they did, it should be only because of adultery and not for any other reason. But a lot of people was just divorcing for whatever reason, and that was not correct. But as we can see later on, when the Pharisees was trying to use to trick Jesus in it, when he was asking the questions about divorce, Jesus then in verse 2, let me just go ahead and say this. Moses may have made the law because your hearts were hardened, because obviously they wouldn't listen. So he just did that because they wouldn't listen. He's trying to say, but here's the thing: what God said. God said that when a man and woman come together, they're no longer two; they're one, and that they should leave their father and mother, their parents, their family, that family they just came from, no longer matters. Sorry, the sun's getting to me. And so therefore, the only thing that should matter is just you two, because you're now one flesh. You're no longer two fleshes, you're one flesh. So no matter what they do, including adultery, it is a sin to get a divorce. And those who divorce their wives and marry another is then living in adultery, and that is a sin. And even though the wife may have not wanted the divorce, but she got a divorce anyway, if somebody else was to get with her and that person is also living in adultery. And that's why the Peter and them says, well, why should you get married at all then if you can't get a divorce, so to speak? Well, here's the thing. You're supposed to marry because you're supposed to be together for the rest of the time. Whatever God joins together, no one should be able to separate them. And that's the whole meaning of marriage. So you got to be careful who you marry, because it's supposed to be forever. It's supposed to be through the hard times and rough times, but a lot of people don't want to do that. They just want to go and not even try to work things out. God had one of his prophets marry a prostitute, but he did that for a reason, because a lot of times they would do when they would prophesy, they would use skits and demonstrations, to show and demonstrate what they was prophesying about. Okay, so when he had Hosea marry a prostitute, he was a living example. He was a living demonstration. His whole life was a demonstration about the people of Israel worshiping other gods. And that's the whole reason why he did that, had him stay married to a prostitute. And even when she took off, he had to literally go buy back his own wife. He had him do that to show his children of Israel, hey, no matter what you've done, I will still take you back. And that was the whole reason why he had Hosea marry a prostitute. And if you pay attention closer to the names of the children, what they mean, the children that they had is really amazing. I don't know what they is, but I have to get to the book of Hosea to do that. But you can look it up. But it is really cool what he named those children and what the names actually mean. We're going to skip on down. When he's sitting here in chapter 5, verses 36, Jesus is mentioning to the Jewish people just how sacred the very, very sacred words he was using there, like heaven, earth, Jerusalem, and a person's head. Jesus teaches us that these words of truth make our very lives, sacred. I just hang on back. Let's get this on over. because that sun is like, and I don't know if it's just glaring through but it's making me see through glasses. These words are so tiny. I don't even need glasses, but I had to get reader glasses because the words in this Bible is just so tiny I can't see them. So that's why I had to get reader glasses. And verse 41, I'm sorry, where Jesus is referring to, turn the other cheek, slap the other cheek. He's really referring to when he says, if someone forces you to go a mile with him, go 2. The whole reading of saying this is in this reference is to the Roman authorities, because a lot of times the Romans often felt compelled to make the Jewish men carry their heavy items for them when they was going anywhere. Instead of them carrying their own gear and doing all the stuff wherever they had to go, they just pick a Jewish person, they can come with them and carry all this stuff for them. So when he is really referring to, if someone forces you to go a mile with him, go 2. And that's what his reference is to that. Because we all get the reference when he says to, if somebody slaps you across the face, turn the other cheek. We all get that. But a lot of people didn't realize that when he says, when he forces you to go a mile, this is what he means by that. Because what the Romans would do to them. And in verse 42, it means if somebody wants to benefit from you, do not stop them. If somebody's taking advantage of you, and you know this, and you know they're going to, but you're helping them out anyway, that's what it's referring to. Don't stop them. Go ahead and let them do it, because they will get their just reward by the end of it. Don't let it stop you from helping those who need help. Even if though you know that what they're about to do is to take advantage of you, let them. That's what Jesus is referring to. Let them do that. Because you know it and God knows what they're doing. And they know what they're doing. And they may think you may have you fooled. And taking your kindness for weakness is basically what this is all referring to. Let them do it. Because one of the main things that Jesus always says, it is more blessed to give than to receive. It is better to give than to receive. So if they just want to take from you, let them take from you. Give it to them. Let them have it. Because it's better to give to somebody than to receive. So not only will you be rewarded greatly in heaven for it, but they'll get their just reward for the things that they do to you. Make sure my time. Don't run out of my time. We're going to be in, skipping down to chapter 6. And here's the hypocrites. The Greek word hypocrites is not only used for people with double standards, it actually means overcritical, nitpicking, and that's what he's referring to when he's shouting at the Pharisees, you hypocrites. The nitpicking, their double standards, and the overcritical. So basically they're grammar Nazis, so to speak. The Pharisees are Karens. Or a form of know-it-all Karens. You can't do this and you can't do that. So that's basically what he's implying to when he's calling them hypocrites. Here's the thing when he's talking about the whole verse, chapter 6, all the way down to verse 16, is about giving with pure motives and about prayer. People like to pray these long, extensive prayers, okay? Oops, I'm running out of time, sorry.